After biking over 350 kilometers from Lisbon, Portugal to Porto, we were absolutely ready for 2 fantastic rest days. One of our first stops was at the cathedral. Construction began in the 12th century in the highest part of the city, and over the years, the cathedral was rebuilt several times, resulting in a mishmash of styles from Gothic to Renaissance to Baroque. The cathedral is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the city, and entrance is only €3 per person. While you're there in the museum and the cloister, you'll visit beautiful pieces of art from over the centuries and some of the great treasures of the church. You can also visit the sanctuary, and if you're interested, even attend a mass. We found the labyrinth of streets in the old town of Porto to be a little overwhelming and crowded with tourists, but just a quick walk across the bridge to Via Nova de Gaio, there are fewer tourists, much more open spaces, and of course, amazing port wine.
We are on our gondola ride from the top of the bridge.
That we biked across yesterday.
We did bike there yesterday. Say hi.
Hey.
And we are heading down here to Port Heaven.
It's like a mini Napa Valley.
So these buildings right in front of us are where almost all of the port in the world is produced. You can see here's Sandeman coming up right in front of us. Behind that is Porto Cruz. You can see over here the Awfully cellars. Up the hill is Cockburn's. Over that way is Graham's.
Taylor's is back here, which is the one that is most popular.
Taylor's is somewhere back here. Oh, right there on the hill.
Yeah.
This little gray building, like 3 buildings up, is Ware's. What's amazing is we know in the United States about maybe 3 or 4 brands of port that are really common. There are at least a dozen different places right here that are all producing port wine. And
then
it's
there's
amazing.
Rooftop parties. Which one's the?
Cruise right here has their terrace.
Oh yeah, right in front of us.
What's amazing is this gondola ride was $6 a person.
No.
It was $6 a person.
Oh, okay.
And at the end of the gondola, we get a glass of port, which often costs $5 or $6 a glass. So it's quite a deal. And there's the city of Porto in the background. If we follow this river, the Douro River, all the way to the end of town, we reach the Atlantic Ocean, which we will see on Monday. The little boats here, these little wooden boats, you can see are the boats that bring the port wine from the vineyards down the river here to the cellars where they turn the wine into port. And there is the river front.
Where we had dinner last night.
The free tasting that comes with your gondola ride is at Ufania. It's a little hard to find, but well worth the search. These are pieces of cork bark. They've had the corks, the wine corks already pressed out of them. We also visited the Sandeman Winery, which has fantastic tours ranging from 16 to 40 euros depending on the tour that you take. They have lots of great options, and it's a beautiful and informative tour. Sandeman was the first winery in the world to have its own logo and also the first to bottle their wine under their own name. All of this happened in the 1700s, so they really know what they're doing.
And all of the barrels, they have made of French oak because it's the best wood to age the ports. It adds really good characteristics as the wine goes aging inside of the barrel. The small barrels, we call them cascos in Portuguese, and we use them until they have 50 to 60 years. And these bigger ones here, called balsaios, we use them until they have 80 to 100 years. And over here you can see the capacity in total of the barrel in liters. If you want to come closer to see better, the capacity might change from one barrel to another because they are all quite different. On these boards you can see the type of wine that's inside. So here we have a tawny reserve that will age for 8 years. Here it's the amount of wine that we have inside of the barrel, so this one's pretty much almost full. And below is the date when the wine was put in inside of the barrel. And this is the only cellars that we have to age our Sandeman ports. We have been using it for more than 2 centuries, so at the moment we have almost 4 million liters of wine inside of the cellars aging.
A single-year vintage port from 1970 ranges about $200 a bottle. The ones in this rack go for well into the thousands per bottle, if they're willing to sell you one.
So this is a fine white with 3 years of aging, and it's medium dry, so it's less sweet compared to the rest of the ports, but still sweet enough for you to find flavors of honey or some more citric fruits like lime or lemon. And it's very fresh. We usually have it before the meals with salted cheese, for example, but it's also very good with the Portuguese custard tart, the pastel de nata, and it's always served very cold. So go ahead and try.
Back in the old town, we loved wandering the streets and popping into shops. We even took a Porto food tour and got to try some unexpected places that are off the beaten track.
Okay, you invented it, you make it. Okay.
A very hard work actually, because I have to try a lot of different recipes and I say very, very drunk trying.
That's good work. Love it.
And we want just a little bit of something. We say just a cibinho.
Ah, a Slovenia. Just a little bit.
You always this with us.
Yes, of course.
Well, you've done all the work.
Yes, I didn't have to keep the standards of quality, so I
Of
have
course.
to always
Of course.
have a taste.
Here.
Here, take that. I'll take this.
So
So
good.
so
Salud. Oh, the smell.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is actually right about 12 o'clock when we are leaving the hotel. This is our second rest day in Porto. We planned 2.5 days in Porto overall, and we did 2 rest days because we know that in a new city, especially a big city that's so amazing like Porto, that you don't really rest on the rest day if you only have one of them. So yesterday
Yesterday we did not rest.
we did not rest. Yesterday on our first rest day in Porto, we explored the city, which you've seen by now.
You have to watch where you're walking.
I'm watching.
Cobblestones.
We walked yesterday
Turn left.
5.5 miles, and we climbed the equivalent of 60 flights of stairs. Now, part of that reason that we climbed 60 flights of stairs is because every place in Porto looks like this.
We're climbing right now.
So we are walking uphill again. We also had to climb 4 flights of stairs just to get to our room last night.
With 12-foot ceilings.
But Porto is a very hilly city, so there's not a lot of rest on a rest day.
Today we are resting more.
Today we are resting more. We'll tell you about that once we find our lunch spot. All right, so we just finished our brunch.
Yeah. We had, is it brunch or is it lunch?
I think it was lunch.
It's kind of lunch. We have pastries to take back to the room because today we are, so, okay, let me backtrack. Yesterday was Brian's favorite rest day. What does that look like, Brian?
That looks like going to the port wine cellars and touring those.
How much did we walk again?
5.5 miles.
Okay, so
and
that's-
climbed 60 flights of stairs.
So that's Brian's idea of a rest day. But in Porto, we have 2 rest days. So we get a Michelle rest day. That looks like staying in the room till noon.
Yes.
And then
Watching YouTube videos.
Yes, we were catching up on our favorite YouTubers because it's #Summer to Remember. So keep your daydream. We caught up on you today, which was great. So that's my idea. Now, we only left the room at noon because why, Brian?
Because I was hungry.
Because Brian was hungry. I could have stayed in the room all day. I didn't care. But we left.
Michelle had one place in Porto that she wanted to visit. It's a restaurant
Yes.
that sells hot dogs.
It is, but they're really fun.
Yeah, they're fancy hot dogs.
Fancy hot dogs.
We didn't get to go there because they're
Because it's
closed on
Sunday.
Sunday.
So that kind of sucked because that, but even better, it doesn't suck because even better, we found a place that was only a 1-minute walk away. By 1 minute, it took us 5 minutes to get there.
And we had to walk up that.
You always have to walk, and then we're gonna walk downhill, and then we're gonna walk back uphill, and then walk up 5 flights of stairs to get to our room. But anyway, okay,
But
so
we are
my
making
rest day.
one more pit stop on the way back to the room, which is at a little wine shop that we found yesterday on the secret wine tour.
Because that's Brian's idea of a rest day, is having more wine. Me,
So we're gonna take some wine to the room.
I just
why
want to go
not?
back to the room. We're gonna figure out our plan for dinner so that it.
So you don't want the wine?
Well,
So I get to drink the wine
I'll
and she
drink
doesn't.
the wine. But my idea is to find a place that's really close for lunch, so that we can then go back to the room. We're gonna catch up on our other favorites, Less Drunk, More Journey, and really get my fix on YouTube and our RVing because I miss our RV desperately. Though I love Europe and I'm having a blast. Truly, truly having a blast.
We're gonna do some
But,
laundry.
Oh yeah.
little
So
laundry.
we're doing a little laundry. We're gonna plan out tomorrow. Plan out where we're gonna go tonight for dinner, and then go just out for a little while tonight and come back in and get an early night's sleep because we need to get up early tomorrow and start being pilgrims again. So, but we got a his and her rest day, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and in my box are sweets to take back to the room. He wants wine. I always want sweets. It is what it is. You
we
gotta
go.
love us for who we are. All right, so we'll see you later.
Hola!
So, good evening. We are at the end of our second day in Porto.
Also known as Michelle's Rest Day.
Yay! It was very nice.
And we are in Villanova de Gaia, which is the other side of the river of the Douro River in Porto. So you see Porto back here behind
Porto's
us.
there.
And we've crossed the river to what we have called Port Heaven.
Yes, it's quieter. Over on the other side, you're going to hear a lot of music. It's loud, it's touristy. And okay, so on this side of the river is where all the port wine is. So if you want to do port wine tastings and pay Napa Valley prices, I mean, no joke, you can come over here. We have not done any port wine tastings today. We did two yesterday. And
so there are all these port houses, and each one costs between, I think, $16 and $40 a person to do a tour and a tasting.
We lucked out at Sandeman though.
We did. Sandeman, their system was down.
I'm sorry, Sandeman. You were having problems.
It was a great tour, and it was worth every penny of the $16 they were going to charge us. But their system was down, and they could not take credit cards. So they ended up giving everyone on the tour a free tour, which was kind of awesome. I don't know what's happening. Oh, it's a riverboat cruise.
A riverboat cruise, which Brian, of course, really is like
really want to do.
Let's add that to Brian's list of things to do.
Look at that cruise boat. So this is like the Viking River cruises. I don't know. Is that a Viking?
Yep, it is.
So that's the Viking River cruise.
That's the third cruise ship that we've seen from Viking come through. And of course, everything adds to Brian's to-do list.
It does.
I said to Brian, my goal is to only walk downhill. So if you can see Porto behind us, as he's shown you, everything is uphill. So like those spots right there on the river, that's great. But our place is, I'm going to go behind Brian's head, right about...
Oh, higher, about there.
Oh yeah, because there's a steeple.
It's about halfway up the hill.
About there. And so everything in Porto is uphill, but we just really wanted to come over here and enjoy a good dinner, which was a fabulous dinner. Brian will insert some pictures. But it was a great dinner. We're gonna go have a port wine tasting.
We're gonna find some dessert and some port wine.
And then go back to the room and get a good night's sleep because we're going to be up early tomorrow to get our day started.
You're going to see some more photos or video of our dessert and our port wine tasting we're going to do to cap off our trip to Porto. So that's it for right now. Bye.
Bom Camino.
Unfortunately, the wine bar didn't have any desserts that looked good to us, but they did create for us a special tasting of 3 different 10-year ports from 3 different wineries. It was great to be able to see how things can change from one place to another. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button to get all of our updates as we continue our journey through Portugal and Spain.